Obsidian. It's going to be ALT Insider versus Monster Racer.
Yeah, much to my chagrin, Monster Racer, 2 R's. One at the end of Monster, one at the beginning of Racer. Come on, you got to do like the logo thing, right? And have them share an R at least? Maybe like a capital R in the middle, I was thinking. Something like that. No?
That works.
Yeah. ALT Insider we cast earlier this season already, and I remember we were very impressed because of drops and things like that. Obsidian actually has a lot of brand new players. Some people are playing in the SCL for the first time in Obsidian, and that hasn't made much of a difference. They still play like they've worked their way up a little bit, frankly. That's a refrain for us, right? How good
absolutely.
they get, how fast. ALT Insider certainly one of them. Let's get into these picks and bans, why don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get in there. Now, another couple of options for Monster Racer is to just put way too many R's in there, like KCM.
5 R's, you're thinking?
5 R's.
Yeah, 5 R's. Okay, so we do have the picks and bans in here.
Another one I've seen, which was pretty hilarious, was a StarCraft player named Gosu User, who put a W instead of the 2 U's, and everyone got confused and called him Goswisser.
You got to use a typeface to your advantage when you're trolling people, whenever possible. Picks and bans, ALT Insider bans Gallery, Monster Racer bans Pub36, ALT restricts Library, Monster Racer restricts Terrace, so you can tell Monster Racer wants nothing to do with these silly Softail venues. ALT doubles Redwoods, oh boy, all 3 occlusion venues doubled tonight. Monster Racer doubles High Rise, so maybe I'm wrong. They do want the Softail venue.
That's a very unusual. Wait a second. He restricted Terrace and then picked Terrace. What is happening?
Yeah, I think it's well. Here's why: because ALT Insider does not take the bait, picks Balcony instead. Monster Racer goes, "Oh, you figured me out. Terrace it is."
Fair.
Hilarious. I love it.
The plays. Anyways, double Redwoods. My goodness.
Double Redwoods. Oh boy, I guess you guys are going to stay in Spy Camera kind of a lot out of sheer necessity. I'll probably stay in Sniper Camera a little more often, which means I'm not going to have any idea what's going on half the time, so I'm going to be relying on you even more than usual, Tobo.
I wish you luck, my friend, as we step into Redwoods with ALT Insider starting things out on the Spy side, Monster Racer on the Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Help, I can't see anything. My computer's broken.
Nope, it's just trees.
Ugh.
ALT Insider sitting inside in an innocent conversation, not really doing much to start the game off, waiting for the seduction target to move because he's all alone.
So one thing I like about ALT Insider is they have a very, very high contact rate, over 88%, which means when contact is active, they complete it 88% of the time. Not that significant, right? Because a lot of people complete contact a lot. But I have noticed that when people have a very high contact rate, they usually also tend to get really good contacts because it shows on both cases that they prioritize the mission.
ALT Insider steps away to the bar early on, picks up a delegate, and is now eyeing up the seduction target, getting ready to start this. We do have highlights for bar, though.
So I'm really glad you're not on Sniper side, because Monster Racer is kind of having a seizure. Yeah, they're jumping up and down constantly. Like, the first time I thought it's just an expression of, oh my god, the trees. They're kind of still doing it. And I'm getting motion sickness.
That's not good. No. ALT Insider picks up 30% on the first flirt on a white test, so not ideal positioning, but not terrible. We are still going to need to get a green test somewhere in these next 2 flirts, but that is very doable. Contact comes off from the center conversation. There's the Purloin coming off as well. I didn't even notice when that was sent, but the contact into the Purloin, a powerful combination.
Well, you can be forgiven for missing it, because from the Sniper side, I think there was at least 1 earthquake.
You're not wrong. 4
I mean, Redwoods
have come off.
We're in California here, right, with all the Redwoods, so it's on brand.
The shot comes off as well. I don't know what was going on with Monster Racer that game, but it did not work.
All I know is that I had to decide whether or not to have dinner before or after tonight's cast. I chose after, and boy, am I glad I did.
Oh, man. So that is a game win for ALT Insider, and I think a lot easier than he was expecting it to happen. Just got him on the Purloin.
Yeah, I mean, you say, and we say often, you have to show a hardtail in some of these venues to get a civ shot. Normally, what we mean is you have to show a hardtail, and there has to be some general time has to have passed, and you get a good banana bread. In this case, it was kind of just like, no, literally, just show a hardtail.
Yep, just thought that guy purloined and didn't.
That's how it
Monster
goes.
Racer now stepping into the spy side of things as ALT Insider picks up the rifle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Oh, this is nice and smooth. This is much better. I mean, we still have the trees in the way, don't get me wrong, it's awful, but at least it's just awful for one reason.
At least there's no earthquake. Monster Racer starting things off at windows and off towards the, I thought, seduction target, but no, it's going to be the briefcase, redirects into conversation with the seduction target, so a little bit of a roundabout way to get there, but it is going to be 51% on the green flirt to open the game.
Fingerprint can be very, very powerful on redwoods, and I would say very powerful at this general level too, because spies at intermediate and lower levels don't tend to get fingerprint done as often as spies at higher levels, so it can really sneak under the radar, and that's without all the seclusion.
These trees are rough, man.
Yeah, well, it's funny. When this first came out, the developer, Chris Ecker, solicited feedback. Which are the dominant viewing angles? He asked some of the better snipers. Where do you find yourself sitting? And they told him, and the evil genius said, well, I guess I'll put trees there too. So little did they know, they were making their lives harder by answering his question.
Monster Racer absolutely just hanging out, waiting for a timer flirt. Does a fake contact, unfortunately, in conversation with the SDA. Unsure if that was intentional, might have just been an action priorities problem. Flirts right after, up to 85%.
So you're saying the spy's not in the conversation with the double agent yet?
That is correct. The spy and the double agent are in separate but close conversations. Now Monster Racer stepping away, just past the double agent, off towards the windows for the last flirt. Looked like he wanted bar, saw an opportunity to get the flirt done, and took it.
Yeah, that'll work. I would say pretty darn good position to be in, actually, still. Even with just the one mission, as long as we get the contact in soon, suddenly we're fine.
Alert, alert, the spy is in conversation with the double agent. The double agent's leaving. Everything's going wrong. It's all terrible. Minute and 20 seconds left, and all we have is the flirt.
I swear I didn't know that was going to happen when I decided to turn this into tonight's meme. I promise.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Come sure on, get back Monster in there. Racer is.
What I really want is like a top-down mini-map that shows the position of the double agent relative to the spy at all times.
I think Monster Racer just bugged the double agent. Double agent alone in the conversation. Monster Racer snubs the double agent this time into conversation with the seduction target again.
I mean, look,
that's done.
When the double agent's in a conversation with some other people, you're all about it. When they're the only one in there, no thank you most of the time. That's true.
But like 35 seconds to play, we still only have the flirt. This is not going well for Monster Racer. Into the bar we go. A little bit too far out to pick up a bug. Being watched now anyway, so it's not going to happen even if it could. There's the direct purloin coming off with 15 seconds to play. Desperately hoping someone gets shot in the waning moments of the game, but 10 seconds remain. ALT Insider does not react, and in fact, just heckin' shoots Monster Racer.
Yeah, well, so Monster Racer kind of sold that. Went and stood between Salmon and the High-Lit Twin, and then left to make it look like they'd been delegated to. But ALT Insider either completely susses it out or says, you know what, I'm not sure. I'm just going to shoot the list taker. It's a kind of a valiant effort, I think, but in that case, it just doesn't work. Direct is always risky, right? Because at best, you're still 50-50.
I don't think either of those people were at bar.
Yeah, certainly not anytime recently. But at least we had the foresight to go between two people, one of them a highlight, and then leave in purloin, right? Like, we gave ourselves some sort of path to victory there. If the sniper doesn't have great control of who's been to bar recently. But it looks like it had been a long time, too. Very few people went to bar in the second half of that game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's hard to be on top of things with all the heckin' trees in the way. So it's a very understandable play to make, but it does not wind up working out. ALT Insider goes up 2-0 and is on the spy side. Monster Racer on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
You say heckin' trees, I say hecker trees. He's the one who put them here. They didn't have to be so many.
Well played, sir. Oh, the seduction target I thought was going to be nice, but then wasn't. In conversation with the suspected double agent, staring forlornly at the real one.
Hey, I asked about real double agent things. I don't know how I got on this mailing list. Unsubscribe. I don't care about the suspected double agent.
Yeah, ALT Insider doesn't either. Has no idea as he steps over to the seduction target at Windows for a 51% flirt. Early on in the game, that is always nice to see. Yeah, double agent away to bar as we step in to statues.
So we don't talk about it too often. Swap is actually really good on Redwood sometimes. You really have to genuinely guard it, and not just swap, but specifically that kind of lean into the 50-50 thing that you can do with the Delegate Purrloin, the sort of I'm swapping for someone else, making it look like a green swap, because you have to dedicate so much to make sure you see that fade, and there are a lot of things that you're going to miss if you're staring at a specific statue, especially one off to the far right, for example, like Salmon has right now. Swap is kind of sneaky good on Redwoods.
Absolutely it is. We'll see if ALT Insider makes use of it, but for now, picking up the Delegate, stepping into conversation with the real double agent. No contact as of yet. Only one other person in the conversation, though, so it's a little bit risky.
Yeah, the tectonic plates have mostly settled down on Monster Racer side, thankfully, and it's interesting. They're trying to mostly, it looks like, keep the Ambassador in view, insofar as you can keep them in view at all.
Contact and Purrloin come off together once again.
And I don't think the Purrloin's been seen yet. I really don't.
I don't think so either. Minute and 45 left to play. Sorry, minute and 35 left to play as ALT Insider heads to another statue next to the seduction target. Gets himself low lit for the Purrloin, I believe.
Yep. It's just a delayed reaction. The BB worked exactly like you want a BB to work, distracting from a hardtail, and almost never does. It almost never goes the way you hope. That was exactly what you hope every time you distract from a hardtail with a contact, that it'll work exactly like that.
85% on the flirt, but more importantly, not a suspect at all. It's down to 2, and neither of those 2 have the name ALT Insider.
But do they know? Do they really suspect they're low lit? I don't think they can, so they still need to finish, but it looks like they're probably going to here because a simple statue visit's probably going to do the trick.
Flirt is done. We have had 2 single inspect statue visits. 45 seconds left to play. One more statue visit. If we go back, that will be enough, and he is indeed going back. No fear on ALT Insider, and that is the correct reaction to have. This is going to be 3-0. There's nothing to play for Monster Racer unless something goes catastrophically wrong. And it does not. We're safe in a conversation. ALT Insider up by 3.
No catastrophically wrong. No catastrophes. The earthquake happened earlier. And I do like to think, though, that if you're ALT right there, there's a decent chance you don't know you're low lit, and so you go to that statue trembling, worried that the shot's about to come off. Little do you know, you've already won.
Absolutely. That is almost certainly the case. It's hard to, like, when you have the laser swoop over you like that, especially when you're at statues, you just automatically assume you are now a suspect. But it works out.
It's a fair assumption, and it's particularly weird. I like that you noted that we went to 3 separate single statues. You can make a decent argument if you want to get all behavioral, and I'm not sure I'd recommend it, kids. But if someone goes to 2 separate single statues on Redwoods, necessitating a 3rd visit just to complete inspects, you could think about lowlighting for that. It's a bold move. It's a lot for a spy to do, but those really good flirts, that early green flirt at Windows, for example, one of the things that enabled it.
And Monster Racer now has to find a win on the spy side of Redwoods just to get on the board in the first venue. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And the thing about Monster Racer is they get missions done. 45% mission win rate. That is crazy. Civilian shot against their spy, just over 8% of the time. That's incredibly low. Monster Racer does stuff.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, that's nuts.
first flirt comes off for 33%, which is still absolutely in range. It's not max for a close flirt, but it's still absolutely in range for a 3 flirt on whites. You can timer flirt here and still be in range for a 3 flirt on whites, but Monster Racer is not going to, because that's too slow. We go to bookcase.
Yeah, do something else in the meantime. You say bookcase, but we know what's really going on. It's really inspects.
That is true. And also, it's a green microfilm transfer, so green film in pocket, 2 inspects done, 1 flirt done. Monster Racer is not slowing down.
Normally when we say normally when we say triple greens, we mean 3 greens on balcony. In this case, it's a green character, a green shelf, and a green action test.
I love it.
Easy to remember, if nothing else.
Now stepping off towards bar, might go for a bug on the way in, does not go for a bug on the way in, luckily. ALT Insider was very much on top of that. Timer ticking down under 2 minutes, plenty of time left to play. Picks up a drink and a delegate and a difficult fingerprint, but is not able to hit it, unfortunately.
So I'm wondering what the philosophy of this game is now, if we have the delegate. Because if we have half the microfilm done, obviously we're planning on finishing it. We have 2 inspects done. Maybe those are incidental. Maybe we're not planning on going back and we're planning on going to the blue shelf. But the point is, what is the microfilm covering for? It's either allowing you to not have to finish inspects, in which case you have to go to blue, or it's allowing you to play silent. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, Monster Racer stepping into conversation with the seduction target is able to pick up a contact while we're there as well, so that's very nice to see. Up to 84% on the flirt.
Wait, you mean we were in a conversation with a double agent and you didn't say anything first? Oh,
I didn't notice.
Oh, wow. You had 1 job. That's not true. You have like 5 jobs. It's really hard. So if we don't go to blue shelves, this is a missed opportunity. There we go, yes.
Blue shelves, here we go.
Once we contacted the double agent, that almost guaranteed we go to blue shelves if the spy was on their game, because otherwise we're going to go to red and complete inspects anyway, and why complete microfilm if you're going to complete inspects and not go silent?
There's the transfer getting done on a white test microfilm. 40 seconds remain. That's 2 mission completions. We have a flirt to do. And I guess we could finish inspects. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not going to red bookcase. We are going to a statue instead. A single statue. That completes the inspect. 20 seconds. All we need is this flirt. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. We're in. We're not talking yet. Now we're talking. It's not going to be overtime. He did not leave. Everything is fine. Monster Racer, I think, has this game locked up. ALT Insider cannot take the shot. And Monster Racer is on the board 3-1.
It was a white test microfilm at the blue shelves, but it could have been red for all it mattered, because a tree, an 800-year-old plant, gives us the assist, totally blocking it.
People kept trying to do transfers behind the plant on high rise. Checker gives us something a little bit better.
It works beautifully. We hit the green on the one we needed, the one that was sort of on screen. We white when it doesn't matter, and it's just a real clean game, doing a mission that people still eschew a lot on Redwoods.
But ALT Insider, still with a hefty lead, stepping in to the aforementioned high rise. On the spy side against Monster Racer Sniper, 3 of 5 with no transfer, no swap, and no fingerprint in 3, 2, 1 playing it.
No fingerprint's one way to put it, but an even better way is Purloin is on. It's less about caring about the fingerprint, it's more about having that backup plan, because now you have 2 things you can rush at the end if you need to. Bug and Purloin. And let's be honest, AIs don't complete fingerprint that often.
That is very true. There's a lot of time on this map, but somehow it can still get away from you. Like that, wanted that first flirt. Seduction target steps away immediately, but steps away to center statues.
I gotta say, this shaking, particularly ominous given that we're in a high-rise. It's a little scary, and I don't know, are we using a rumble pack or something? Do we have N64 controller support?
Rumble pack on your mouse?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Look, do we have N64 controller support? Maybe.
Fake contact, by the way.
Interesting.
That will be interesting. Now the real double agent steps in with us, so real contact is suddenly on the table, but no, ALT Insider doesn't want it. Instead, looking to pick up that first flirt.
Kind of standing across from our seduction target, though. I understand that you don't have to go too fast, but we have already used over a minute.
27% on the first flirt is not the number you want to see. Definitely is going to necessitate a green somewhere, especially if you're going to hang out for... Please don't hang out for timer flirt. Thank you. Now back into conversation with the double agent. Getting ready to pick up this contact. Under 2 minutes now to play.
Oh, we've requested a drink. Buckle up.
Here we go.
Banana bread.
There's the contact.
To distract, perhaps?
One low light, innocent drink take.
To distract from our innocent drink take. Okay.
That was successfully unexpected. The bug comes across. It's not the arm we were hoping for, but we did have a drink in hand. It's the only way to do it. Monster Racer didn't see it, so that's the bug done. Minute and 8 seconds left. We still need 2 flirts.
Still need 2 flirts, and by the way, we had to gulp that drink. The drink we just took for the zoomed-in sniper does not quite put 2 and 2 together, because why would that be a thing?
ALT Insider steps back into conversation with the double agent, but not the seduction target. 50 seconds to play. Here comes the purloin.
No!
There goes it's a white test purloin. Safety's off. Shot comes off. And ALT Insider threw the game by refusing to flirt.
I think they might have actually kind of had the opposite problem that we saw from Beanie earlier. I think they thought I don't have time to flirt when they actually kind of did. It would have been very close, but if you go next to your seduction target and timer flirt, this can still work. I think it's just maybe expecting to have to do a purloin, and when the bug happens, not reevaluating their plans. I'm not really sure. I will say, though, by the way, Mr. Sniper, sir, the way you shot this gave me heart palpitations, and not just because there's a seismic event going on. Let me just, pro tip, that hat the Queen's wearing, that has an artery in it for some reason, so you can definitely just shoot that instead.
Oh my god. Alright, well, either way, it's just clothing that took a bullet. It works out. Monster Racer picks up another game and steps into the spy side of High Rise. ALT Insider on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, that was a very conspicuous shot. Let's just say it's a good thing Queen does squats.
Fair enough. Monster Racer steps in at a slight distance from the seduction target and picks up a green flirt for 46%. I approve of this plan, actually.
I mean, normally, so it's funny how rough the flirts and the timing have been on some of these games. They've been so bad that you're actually excited about a number like 46, which normally upsets you.
The thing is, there's so much time on this map. You should, ALT Insider, really be able to get your flirts done without any trouble. Goes for a second one there, isn't able to get it done in time, though, and now this is a little bit sad.
Yeah, even though they broke idle animation in the conversation with the folded arms, the easiest to catch kind of version of that, in order to get that flirt, still couldn't get it in time, unfortunately.
Indeed. Picks up a briefcase for a quick fingerprint. By the way, fingerprint's back on, no purloin. It's the usual suspects, the 4 Softails and the bug.
And speaking of suspects...
In conversation with the double agent now.
Oh, thank you. Thank God. Okay, good. I was going to say, speaking of suspects, we are highlight for that briefcase, too. So if we're trying to sneak a fingerprint by, it's looking like the sniper is prepared for that eventuality.
It's definitely not ideal. Ambassador putting his fingers on some statues, though, so that could be useful moving forward. Timer ticking down under 2 minutes now, still in conversation with the double agent. So here comes the contact.
Is this going to distract? And there's nothing to distract from, I don't think. Doesn't even matter.
There's a bullet that happens.
I mean,
so...
I mean, could have seen the broken idle animation when we followed Queen to Windows for our flirt. We didn't just break idle animation, which doesn't get caught that often, but we broke a very obvious idle animation where our arms were basically crossed. It was very visible. And also that briefcase, maybe a little wonky mechanically. That might be reason enough right there.
Yeah, definitely too close to the ambassador to be able to pick that up. So I'm thinking that's probably what the shot was for, just waiting for confirmation. Didn't look great.
Here we go. Yeah, good shot then, if so.
Absolutely. And that puts ALT Insider back up by 2 as he steps onto the spy side. Monster Racer on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So that highlight for Fingerprint was really interesting. By the way, Purloin off again, so it's the same mission setup as last time. What's interesting about that is that as a spy, you don't actually know what's up with Fingerprint. Sometimes a sniper will watch very closely, some watch closer than others. Sometimes they just watch closely in a particular game. But there are other games where they just sort of forget it exists entirely or lose track of it entirely for the middle of the game, and you never know which it's going to be a spy, and it's not something you can usually infer from laser movement either. Sometimes Fingerprint a super valuable thing to do that's going to work if you do it, and other times it's automatic death, and you never know which it's going to be.
Track, it's a 19% flirt. It's 19.
That's, when's the last time we saw that number?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
It's pretty low.
It's not 17, but at least 17's fun.
Well, the funny thing is when it's 17, you feel like, oh, well, at least thank God I got something.
Yeah,
but 19, it feels worse somehow, doesn't it?
All right, now we're back in close. This time we hit the green. It's 70%. All is right with the world.
There we go. So that makes up for it. You know, as far as you're concerned, this was just 2 whites or something.
Fake contact comes off, too.
Huh. Well, the SDA is out, which we know. So that other conversation has 5 people who could have a real banana bread from the sniper's perspective.
Also, hello, Double Agent. Double Agent drops in to say hi. Here's the real one. Contact comes off, so that's actually mission done this time.
And normally, all else being equal, the second one is usually the real one. And if Monster Racer knows that, then they'll have this very narrowed down.
That is very true. Just under 2 minutes to play. 1 more flirt and 1 other mission is needed.
And this is, I think, already kind of reasonably well narrowed down. 2 lowlights, and if you're trying to make sense of the banana bread, you probably have a few people, the spy among them, who are bigger suspects than the rest.
ALT Insider stepping away towards the front windows. Kletos noting that Taft is not in fact the ambassador and thus must get shot.
I've definitely noticed that. You need to put Taft in as just a civilian sometimes when they're not the ambassador. Otherwise, every time they're not the Amba, you're going to be watched like Smallman.
That was a big bug attempt on the way through, but Monster Racer's on top of it. The bug didn't even take. Everything went wrong for ALT Insider in the waning moments of that game.
Yeah, and right across the midsection, kind of looked like Taft was trying to hug the ambassador, and just a little too obvious, I'm afraid. You're not going to fly under the radar as Taft, guys. That's the thing.
That's true. Somehow both got a little bit too close and was a little bit too far.
It's a good point. We crash bugged the Ambo without the bug, but we kept the crash.
We did. Monster Racer. Now on the spy side of High Rise as Smallman with a chance to tie up the match at 4 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
You think the fellow with the mustache and the pocket watch, he'd be bugged so often that he would know how a bug works, right? Like, he'd be the expert. He's like, listen, I've been bugged thousands of times. I know exactly how to do this.
Oh, I love it. Slow start from Monster Racer, hanging out in an innocent conversation. Lots of people walking in, none of them are interesting, so Monster Racer has to step away to go chat up the seduction target. Green test for 45%.
Oh, I see. So he leaves that conversation to talk the seduction target. Now I think I know what you mean by interesting.
Oh, shush. Double Agent, unfortunately not in conversation, hanging out at statues currently, and now finally decides to walk all over the place like a weirdo.
Well, I think we were headed for the seduction target, and then she picked up that briefcase, and we thought, no, somewhere else.
Fingerprinting a green book is now where Monster Racer is. So that's one fingerprint done. No transfer available, so nothing to do there as Monster Racer then steps in to the statues for yet another fingerprint.
Yeah, and it has the added benefit of seeing what the seduction target does next because she was at Windows and hasn't really settled. She's at statues now, too. So...
Print done. Bug done on the way across. That is some textbook stuff. You have to credit that, but there's no way you can see it.
So do you finish Inspects now, or do you finish Seduce?
I think you might just take the contact and be done with it, because that's pretty early.
So you're saying we're going to get 3 missions done and have partial progress on 2 others?
Nope. Monster Racer decides he only wants 1 mission worth of partial progress, stepping back into conversation with the seduction target. Another white test brings us up to 69%.
Probably saying, hey, you look really interesting tonight.
We are, in fact, in 3 flirt range, although probably not from this distance if we hit a white test. Probably going to want to move again and slip in a little bit closer to finish this up. 1 minute to play. So there's got time.
Question is the seduction target going to stay, too? Did they find us interesting? That matters just as much.
That is true. 45 seconds. It's going to be a timer flirt. He does hit the green. So I believe that's going to be Monster Racer tying the game up at 4. Indeed, ALT Insider not able to take the shot for just that. And we are square, moving into balcony.
Yeah, really good. Just, look, you can catch that bug, but it's so brazen that sometimes it's not looked for. That's all it is. And you're waiting for that contact, even if you suspect it probably. If you don't have them on the fingerprint, which it seems pretty obvious, the sniper did not.
And from that angle, that bug is hard to catch.
Yeah, there's a little bit at the end where you can sort of see the fist come out, but you have to be looking for it, right? And you can tell the sniper is not zooming, not protecting it, not particularly concerned with it. They're taking the sort of broad view of the whole party, which has a lot of value. But in that case, you have to protect it just a little bit more. And if you do, and certainly if you catch the fingerprints too, you'd have reason to take that shot even without the contact coming off.
And ALT Insider, with such a strong start, winds up tied going into the spy side of balcony, which is a scary place to be. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, it wasn't just that Monster Racer won 3 of 4 there. Remember, they had to win a spy game on Redwoods at the end even to get to 3-1 on Redwoods. So they were down 3-0.
And no early flirt. Seduction target all the way out at Windows. Staying there for a long time, too. That could be pretty rough. There is... Oh no, everyone's just shifting over to make sure the seduction target doesn't get in next to us. Here's the contact coming off. Let's off a low light.
And we already have a low light for that little shift that Seek did related to the briefcase too. And we are highlight for it as well. And we are in huge trouble with no flirt. Not only that, but the low light we knocked out was our seduction target who was at Windows.
And we're not close enough for a 2 flirt. Don't even hit the green test. So it's 30%. This is looking bad.
We often say that when you can't flirt, it means your seduction target is at least doing things and therefore might be a suspect. That was the case here. The early window rush meant we didn't get a flirt off, but it did mean that multiple people could have early window flirts. That can lead to paranoia from the sniper and a shot on balcony in particular if we hadn't knocked one of them out.
Bug around the back! It comes off! So does the shot! It's not a good enough play. Oh, wow. Man, I saw that coming from so far away.
I mean, it's a good bug, but you can't go to the other side of the AMBA. You got to keep going and go to that window. I don't think it was going to matter. Monster Racer seemed to have very good control of that party and was really watching us. If we green the BB and do the bug where we keep walking, that's another question maybe. But boy, that must have barely taken because they did a big old loop. It was surprisingly clean, except for the decision to just settle on the other side.
Yeah, I think maybe if you go to Windows there, you've got a chance at it, but you can't take that path and survive it. Monster Racer with a lead for the first time in the set, now stepping into the spy side of Balcony in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we are looking our seduction target in the eye, and that's bad news because it means we're across from them.
Yeah.
Look, eye contact might be a good thing for real romance, but in Spy Party, you want to be looking at them side-eyed a little bit. What?
Reverse drive by Bug!
The arm snap was visible, but that's it. It was just the little arm snap, and I don't see any indication from ALT's side that they saw the snap.
We've just seen 2 bugs on Balcony in a row. This never happens.
Game.
One of them even worked. The contact comes off right after. There's nothing for ALT Insider to shoot for. There was still 1 minute and 15 left.
You either see the bug or you don't. That's the whole game. Although I will say, if you suspect the bug and you hear the banana bread right afterwards, you got to get that Kill Bill alarm music going in your head just a little bit. But you can see the hand snap back at 139, just barely. But you have to be protecting for it. This is the same thing we were talking about, wasn't it? It was the same thing. ALT, when the Smallman bug happened on High Rise, did not zoom in to protect a possible bug path, right? They zoomed out and watched the whole party. They're doing the exact same thing here. And both times, it cost them the bug and therefore the game.
What a play from Monster Racer, now on match point. 1 point in the SCL standings, locked up. 2 chances for another, starting from the sniper side of Terrace in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So I would say most newer snipers maybe abuse the zoom too much, and they don't spend enough time just watching the whole party and seeing who's moving and getting like a holistic view. But it's very rare to see a sniper at this level actually not do it enough. Usually they do it too often. I would say would benefit a little bit from zooming in those crucial moments when good bugs could happen to protect it just a little bit more.
ALT Insider has to find these next 2 games to draw the match with Monster Racer. Monster Racer, 2 chances to win it outright. And ALT Insider, with no early flirts, but in conversation with the double agent, doesn't take the contact as he heads off to bar. I know how English works, I promise.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't make a lot of sense most of the time. Monster Racer, by the way, remember, they kind of did their little head fake, restrict Terrace into picking it, and now they only need 1 win on it to take the set.
ALT Insider picking up a delegate and lots of traffic at the bar after he arrived, so that's very, very nice to see.
And there's no automatic thing on the sniper side here, but this is the game. This is the one you need to salvage that draw.
34% on the first flirt now. Under 2 minutes to play. She's right there. She's right there. We got a fingerprint, but she's right there.
I don't think it was seen. Was it because our seduction target left right before? Was it an action priority?
It might have been an action test issue. The contact comes off just before the double agent steps away.
Listen, playing well hasn't always worked. So let's just have an accident, and that'll work instead.
Apparently, ALT Insider was attempting to stop talk.
Well, there was so much movement, so much to distract from it that it wasn't caught at all. And now we've got a free fingerprint, but the Purloin's done too.
Purloin is done. Contact is done. This is somehow a very good position for ALT Insider to be in. Are we going to take another print here? No, we're not going to win the race. Back into conversation we go with the seduction target. We have 34% off of the first one. And the second one comes off. It's another white, brings us to 68. Under a minute to play. A fingerprint or a flirt will do it. I don't think he wants to go for another fingerprint, though. I think that's a little bit too high profile at this point.
Yeah, and the flirt, as risky as it feels, is actually not that bad. Just go take it. They're so interesting. They're right there.
Gotta be close. It don't have a lot of extra percent to work with, but does slip in right next to the seduction target. The beep beeps have begun, but it may not matter. Really trying to play this as polite as possible.
Oh, waited too long!
Seduction target steps away. It's a disaster. Immediately steps out to the bar to try to chase. 15 seconds. The shot comes off. He never even had to finish missions, and ALT Insider is one game away from clawing this back to a draw.
Wow, and it wasn't the person who took the list either. That was the seduction target. Very strange. It turns out, we found out immediately, obviously that wasn't going to matter, the flirt there. It doesn't matter that they left, but that could have been absolutely disastrous. We were cautious with the flirt, and it almost cost us dearly.
Oh my gosh, that was way more dramatic than it had to be. Monster Racer now with one chance to bring it home on the spy side of Terrace in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I mean, it's all upside here for Monster Racer. You're going to get at least a draw. And remember, the swings in this game have been ridiculous. So it's in a weird position where maybe both players actually possibly feel both a little disappointed and a little relieved to try to get out of here with a point if they can.
Very, very true. Monster Racer with a slow start, window to window. And still doesn't really know where he's going to land. Eyeing up the bar, it looks like. Might not be able to get there in time for the flirt. It's such a slow character. Flirt comes off immediately. It's a white test. It does take for 30%, as luckily our seduction target takes a sip before stepping away.
It's Arnshari for the second consecutive spy game for Monster Racer. Last time it was that bug. Is it going to be again?
Picking up the delegate from bar. ALT Insider, though, is highlighting to track it. Second flirt comes off to 64%. This is a pretty slow game from Monster Racer so far, but does have that delegate available. The contact comes off. Lets off a big low light in our seduction target.
Yeah, and 2 total, and only 3 people have a real banana bread, and we're one of them, and we're glowing. This is not great, but it only takes one thing on Terrace.
It's very true. It's a scary situation. Eyeing up statues, looking to chase the seduction target once more. This time able to safely flirt pre-pickup because of sipping that drink. So that's the flirt done. We've got the contact done. We're going to have a pair of, actually only a single inspect as Monster Racer gets out of there in one cycle. Minute and 15 seconds as we step into conversation with the bug. ALT Insider sees it, and we finish the match tied at 6.
ALT Insider says, fool me once with that bug is sorry, shame on me. Fool me twice? It's a little different, isn't it? This time they're ready for it, and it was just as good. That was not a visible bug. It's just the timing. And not even the timing, because there's still a minute left. This isn't the waning seconds of the game. That's a good bug, but ALT Insider determined not to get beat the same way twice, and both players come away with a point.
Yeah, that's a beautiful bug on the way in. Lots of cover. The queen there. Good angle against the sniper, but still manages to get that shot.
The bugs, the shots, it's ridiculous. Obsidian is obscene.